Hello, welcome back to Travel Stories Unpacked. We've been away for a few weeks. Hope you guys missed us because we sure missed you, but we are back with a new topic. My name's Annie.
And I'm Ashley.
And what are we talking about today?
Annie, I'm so excited, but also nervous to talk about this because I have so many opinions. But we are going to talk about all of the things that we're seeing happen with airlines and just sort of flying in general that we're starting to see in 2025. And even into 2026, we're going to talk about some of those changes that we're now seeing implemented or that we can expect in the next few months to really, start to be a thing that you have to be aware of when you plan on flying.
I think we start just by addressing the elephant in the room here.
Okay, which one?
Well, there's a few, but the biggest one of them is Southwest.
Southwest. So Annie and I are frequent Southwest flyers. I don't know if you fly with them a lot for your personal travel.
I used to, yeah.
So obviously, Annie, what is the biggest thing that has the internet in an uproar right now about Southwest?
So Southwest, if you haven't heard by now, as of, May 28th, will no longer offer 2 free checked bags, which if you're any other airline, you kind of be like, okay, get it. Times are hard. Everything's more expensive. But bags fly free was literally their tagline. Like they built an entire brand around it. So between that and ending open seating, it's kind of like Southwest is revamping a lot. And yeah, it definitely has people up in arms about it.
100%. So let's just focus on the bag aspect for now, because that's going to have a sort of immediate, like you said, May 28th, we're going to see this change in place. And people are very upset. And I think rightfully so, because they did build their brand around it. But I also think you just have to look at sort of the state of being a consumer right now, the state of customer service when it comes to all industries and all different sorts of things across the board. People are upset. People are broke. People are really feeling, the struggle that we're in right now. So then to have this company go about and making this change and doing it in a way that I gotta say, from a marketer, doesn't feel like who was running this change? Who handled this campaign?
I mean, it's not like when Chipotle started charging for extra guac, right? Or an extra side tortilla. This is a big deal.
A big financial deal, right? We're not talking about shelling out $1 or something. Like this is a huge change financially to their client base. But I gotta say, because we all know I'm chronically online, I was watching pretty much every TikTok that came across my FYP about this change because, solidarity. But one person went through and allegedly screenshotted a lot of their responses on their own personal accounts, right? So Southwest was responding to customer clients from the Southwest account. And, people were like, oh, why not just let us have one checked bag? And their response was like pretty sassy and was like, oh, great idea. That's what we'll do for us if you have a credit card, wink emoji. And then just continued to sort of deliver this sort of almost Wendy's style corporate, like, oh, we don't care. Like, oh, we're so funny. And I just feel like that was not the tone at all.
That 24-year-old social media intern has just had it.
Well, then they went through and tried to delete some of them, I guess. This is all
everything on the internet
well.
lives forever, guys. Doesn't matter what you delete. But it's interesting you mentioned that because the no 2 free check bags thing, it's selective, right? You can still get 2 free check bags if you are flying business select fare, if you are an A-list preferred member. Now, if you are a A-list member and select customer, you still get 1 free checked bag. And, or I should say, if you have a Rapid Rewards credit card, you still get 1 free checked bag.
Right. So let's talk about what it actually takes to get your 2 free check bags still and be an A-list preferred member. Do you know what you have to do in a calendar year?
No, and quite frankly, I don't really care because I am very anti-checking bag anyway to begin with. Like if I ever have to check a bag, it makes an already stressful thing even more stressful.
Well, I'm still going to tell you.
Okay.
It's 40 flights or 70,000 points in a calendar year.
That's a flight almost every week.
It's truly
maybe if you're Bill Coyle.
For the average consumer. It's not. You know what I mean? So that's just crazy. But then to just be A-list, it's 20 flights and 35,000 points. So still more reasonable, but you're talking about more than 1 flight a month.
Yeah. Is there like a D-list? Can we be the Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag of Southwest Airlines?
Those are their tiers. So you have your A-list and your A-list preferred is the tiers. And then when you were talking about being business select, that's a fare type. So then you have your business select is the type of fare. So like when you're going to check out, you know how like the default is usually like want to get away or want to get away plus. So those are cheaper.
Yeah.
So you're already paying more for business select and now you get your quote unquote free bag.
Yeah.
It feels more like an inclusive bag than it does a free bag. So, I mean, I gotta say though, personally, I'm with you when it comes to my personal travels. I wasn't really utilizing the free check bag anyway, but it did relieve some stress of, well, what if I'm forced to check my bag because it's overweight? Or what if, even though I know the exact measurements, all of a sudden it doesn't fit? Or, you know what I mean? And like sometimes they make you check a bag if they have like too many people on. Like I know that happened to you one time. You were definitely within your carry-on requirement, but there were too many people doing carry-on. So you were forced to check.
I don't remember that.
They were like counting them as they went, and I literally was right before you. Yeah.
Yeah. You were like, I know exactly what she's doing. You just ran ahead.
I did.
Honestly,
like, not me, not today.
I would have done the same thing.
Well,
so
that was the
no,
day
no
that
hard
we
feeling.
Spent days at airports. I mean, we
really
were just living at the airports, and I was like, I need to get home. Man.
I'm like, I don't ever want to see another Panera sandwich ever again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So like for us, I feel like we weren't really taking advantage of it in our personal travels, but it relieved some level, at least for me, of stress, knowing that, okay, well, if I have to, no big deal. It's not going to cost me anything.
Right.
And
not
now,
anymore.
Right. Now, even that layer is gone.
Yeah.
So
because up until now, there were some like budget I mean, would you consider Southwest a budget airline? Maybe.
Bougie budget?
Bougie budget. Yeah. But like Frontier, like we always know Frontier and also RIP Spirit, but Frontier is a budget airline. But then when I was researching for this episode, I saw they are now also coming in 25, offering a first class cabin.
So,
what does a first class cabin on Frontier look like?
Frontier, this is breaking news from Frontier. This happened today. They clapped back to Southwest in what I think is probably the most genius marketing move out of Frontier. I'm calling it, I think they're calling it the Your New Love campaign. I know, getting at Southwest's whole thing. And they're offering, starting from March 18th through August 18th, customers that are booking nonstop flights can get a free economy bundle. So that is a free carry-on bag, free seat selection, free flight changes, plus they're throwing in a free checked bag for flights departing on May 28th through August 18th with promo code FREEBAG.
Specifically May 28th of all the dates you could have picked.
Where did that date come from?
That's so
Annie?
crazy.
Is that the date that flying. Southwest adds their new policy? It is.
Now, the May 28th date, mind you, because I had to look into it because I have a lot of flight credit with Southwest because I had to cancel a flight last year. But since it was before May 28th, it does not expire. But starting 28th, if you book a flight on or after that date and then you have to cancel it, they'll give you flight credit, but now it's going to expire.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But Frontier, man, what a way to come out. I mean, why not? The market's there now, right?
This is, again,
you might still have to fly the plane yourself because it's Frontier and they might ask for volunteers. But
this is directly from flyfrontier.com on their news section. So I encourage you to go read the whole statement because it is corporate SaaS at its finest, in my opinion. But they even said, if travelers show us they love this deal, we might just make it permanent.
So it's not
it's right now it's a limited thing to use that free bag code at checkout. And the other thing seems like a limited promotion. But I think if they are true to their word and they see the engagement and they see an increase in sales, they might just make it a permanent change.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like Frontier, like you could fly Frontier from Ohio to Florida for $50. But if you have a bag, whether it's a personal item or carry-on, that's another $50. Like they expect, like if you really want the full Frontier experience, you have to travel with nothing.
Yeah.
No bag.
Just layer everything you need.
Yeah, exactly. Like not
your
even a little
in your phone.
Yeah. Like not even a knapsack tied to the end of a stick. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
So let us know in the comments if this is something that you're gonna, try to take advantage of or maybe pass along to your clients in lieu of, the previous Southwest policy, because I'm real curious about it. And, I do gotta say, back to Southwest, just making some really questionable choices is they're also adjusting the number of Rapids Rewards points that you earn. So even though that's like their whole thing now is like, oh, well, we're going to reward those customers that are truly loyal to us, they're making it even harder. Like they're really pricing you out. So to me, the airline that did it the Southwest way. You're just doing it the same way as everybody else.
Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. Are they pricing you out, or are they just doing what every other airline has been doing for decades?
But also, is that truly a need? And I would encourage you, if you're a numbers person, to look at their investment pages, because they post their like quarterly reports online. And if you want to take it the next step, you can go ahead and see the average wage that their employees are paid as well. Because I'm all about, if this money was going towards the people on my flight and going towards, making sure that they're better staffed and that there's always a, qualified pilot and all the flight attendants, that'd be fantastic. I don't think that's where the money's going to go.
No, I mean, I think Southwest could potentially be on their way to being, the Waffle House of airlines. But the Frontier thing, I'm just laughing when I saw that they were offering first class cabins. Like, what does that mean on Frontier? You get a microwaved, warmed, moist towel.
I don't know. I've never even I don't even think about flying first class because it's such a different life. But Southwest did say that they're not doing that, but what they are doing is assigned and premium seating coming in the second half of 2025.
So for those of you who've never flown Southwest, actually, my friend Julie, who was my +1 to last year's Crystal Conference, we all flew Southwest. She had never flown Southwest before.
It was my mom's first time this Crystal.
So she had no idea the concept of like open seating. And so I was trying to explain it to her, and she's like, so you just get on board and it's just like a free-for-all? I'm like, kind of. Yeah, I'm like, you're not like fighting people for seats, but I mean, you're not supposed to reserve seats either if like your friend is behind you. But if someone asks to sit there, you can't really say no. You know what I mean? But yeah, she was so confused. I'm like, okay, you see those poles? They're numbered up. And she's like, dude, just tell me where to go and when to go.
Yeah. And, from that aspect, I could see why getting rid of open seating, because it is confusing and it could be a barrier for people that have never done that before, right? But I don't get the check bag thing at all. I just really don't. So going back to wanting to hear from you and wanting to hear from our listeners out there about how you feel about all this, we actually did a poll on our YouTube channel. So if you are not subscribed and following us on YouTube, please do, so we can hear from you when we do these sorts of polls and quizzes and stuff like that. So we asked our community how they felt about this baggage change. And in no surprise, the overwhelming majority of 72% said that they hated the addition of the bag fees, with 28% saying that they just don't fly Southwest and 0% saying that they loved the change.
Wow, shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I've never been one to rely on checking bags, so it doesn't affect me all that much.
But I can still have an opinion about it.
Oh, for sure.
And thank you to everybody that did participate in that poll and share your opinions with us, because it's nice to know that we're not the only ones out there feeling this way. But Annie, more than any of these changes, one Southwest change has me irate. I am livid. And it is not the check bags or the seating policy. It is that they seem to have quietly in the night gotten rid of their patented Southwest mix snack.
Oh, like that little blue bag with the
yellow bag with the little heart logo on it, with your little breadstick and your little checks. And, it was your Southwest snack. It's been your Southwest snack since my first ever Southwest flight. And all of a sudden, no more Southwest snacks. Did they even post anything about it? Yeah, okay, they did. But but now it's these little pretzels, and you get like 2 of them in the thing. And I won't lie, they are tasty pretzels. Like, way to go. But I'm just so mad. And it's like, you think you can just make all of these changes and we're all going to be okay with it. But I will tell you right now, I am not. Justice for the snack packs. Please bring them back. Listen to your customers.
Here's what I loved about the snacks on Southwest. Doesn't matter if your flight was 1 hour or 8 hours. You're getting the exact same amount of snacks.
Actually, you're not.
Oh, great. What now? What now?
No, so you only get the pretzel braids on select flights over 250 miles.
That's for the D-list flyers.
And then on AM flights over 250 miles, that's when you get those little graham crackers. And then new is the Oreo cookies that you get on flights over 1,550
This is a whole new level of petty. And I respect it, but like, come on, what is you doing?
Yeah. And like, I'm saying a lot about Southwest right now. And, it's because I got feelings. I got a lot of feelings.
A lot of people do.
But I will say that people on the internet in general started to just sort of attack their customer service as a whole. And I will say I've never had bad service on board, ever.
Me neither. I mean, All my flights I've ever taken on Southwest were very short flights because it was like an hour to Chicago. Direct flights to Florida is 2.5 hours. Like,
Yeah.
you know, which we only recently started getting to experience, which is nice. But yeah, I've never really had a bad experience with Southwest.
No.
Like,
And
because I feel like everyone who flies Southwest already knows what to expect. So
I mean,
if there's a weird smell, meh.
I guess I'm just expecting, you know, let's land. let's make it home. But
especially these days.
I know. Which I think is another thing, just like, why make these changes when people are already getting more and more nervous about flying? Like, people are already losing trust in the entire process, and you're continuing to erode the trust that you've earned with your clients and your customers. So
that's the other elephant in the room, right? Is that we can't really talk about airline changes or changes in the airline industry without talking about everything that you've been seeing in the news lately.
Right.
And I don't think we're qualified really to tell you what to do. I think all we can advise is, at the end of the day, travel the way you feel most comfortable with, that you feel most safe with. Nothing is perfect. Nothing will ever be.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, some things do get sensationalized, but again, it's your time, it's your money. If you want to do a road trip because you feel safer in a car, then do it.
If
you don't want to fly, then don't fly.
To hear from our listeners and our travel community out there, is all of this compiled? All of these things that we're sort of touching on, changing the way that you personally travel, or changing the sort of requests that you're seeing from your clients if you're a travel agent out there? I'm just curious, you know, where the sort of like pulse on this issue is landing.
I'm telling you, I've talked about in past episodes, like, we need to really up our train system game here.
Oh my God, the dream.
The
dream, absolutely.
Jeez, come on. It's a lot of country, but not a lot of train. It makes zero sense. It does not make any sense to me. So going back to further changes coming, the big looming deadline, May 7th, pay attention, everyone. May 7th, 2025, Real ID.
According to the TSA, starting May 7th, like Annie said.
Yeah, not just TSA, it's Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, and check, even down to your state to make sure that your ID is compliant. But even more so, go to khmtravel.com and read our blog post. That's going to give you even more information on that.
But just a quick rundown, it's going to replace your average state-issued driver's license. So for domestic travel, you're going to need a real ID that's compliant, but you can still use a passport. I always fly with a passport because I tried to get a real ID when the law first came out. But of course, the DMV is like, oh, you forgot to bring this, you forgot to bring that. I'm like, literally, the DMV would be like, you forgot to bring your second grade report card.
So like, this is so funny. I don't know why. I'm gonna jinx myself so hard, but like,
no, you're going to.
I just like dance through life with some of that stuff. Like, every time I go to the DMV, I literally just like hand them this one thing, and then they're just like, "Okay, you're on your way." So like, I don't know if it's because I'm there all the time or if like what the issue is, but like,
I always have problems.
Yeah, it was not hard for me to get it, but
yeah, I just got in the habit of always traveling, whether internationally or domestically, with a passport because I always like having at least a second form of federal ID anyway.
My passport does not leave its secure location unless it is required for travel.
But the point is, May 7th, y'all, get it done because you will be denied entry by TSA if you do not have a real ID or a passport. That's it. This does not replace your passport for international travel. And if you're cruising and the cruise is international, you still need a passport.
Yes.
So keep that in mind. Again, we cannot give you legal advice. So best bet is to go read our blog or to the Department of Homeland Security website. So up until now, we talked about all these changes coming and how they can negatively impact the average traveler. Because if you're flying first class on Emirates, you're not going to be thinking about no free check bags on Southwest.
Nope. You probably just buy everything new when you get there.
Exactly, right. You don't even pack anything. You just buy everything when you land in the airport. Anyway, but one thing that I think is really great happening soon is, this is new to me. I didn't know that this is going to be a thing, is the Know Your Rights posters. Did you hear about this?
Is this part of the new refund policy?
Kind of. So according to transportation.gov, which is a government website, airports starting in 25, most likely in the summer, are going to have to start displaying prominently Know Your Rights posters at conspicuous areas such as security checkpoints, ticket counters, and gates. And what these posters list is your rights as a passenger if your flights are delayed to a significant amount, being bumped off an overbooked flight, lost or damaged or delayed baggage, so that you know very clearly what your rights are. And I'm for it.
Oh, absolutely. I did know that was now in effect. Starting this year. I think maybe even like this month or something.
Yeah.
The Biden era administration policy on more transparency, like more accountability, really just laying out those things for all the different reasons that you could qualify for a partial or a full refund of your flight. And this was listed out really well at Travel Pulse. That's the resource that I went to. It had it laid out really well.
I didn't know this, but up until that passed, if you're flying as a family, if you wanted to request your children 13 and under seat, like to sit near you, there was an extra fee. Under this new law now, there's no fee.
Oh, hopefully that'll reduce the amount of people being like, do you mind if we switch seats so my family can stay together?
Yeah.
I like to think I'm the person that would be like, no, like that's your problem.
That's a debate.
But I don't think I would ever. I think in the moment I would just like actually do it. But on principle, I want to say no.
So this is a very popular AITA topic on Reddit. If you're on a flight and someone asks you switch seats so that they can sit next to their kid and you pay for that seat, like the one you're sitting in, do you switch?
I mean, I also just think
no. Yes or no?
Okay. I'm gonna say no, but in reality, I probably would just because I hate confrontation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it depends
but
for
I'm
me.
saying no.
Yeah, it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah.
Because it's like, listen, if you don't care about your kid enough to book them right next to you, then like you messed up, and that's not on me. I'm not giving up my aisle seat. Sorry.
I just don't think you should even assume that you know why that person selected what seat they chose. A lot of people have disabilities or needs that you can't tell by looking at them. So you're putting them in a really awkward situation by being like, switch with me, when like maybe they chose that reason because they have to sit there.
Okay.
Like you don't know everybody's business.
Fine. In that case, go to the flight attendant and say, hey, I need to switch seats because the person I'm flying with has needs or whatever.
No. I mean, if I'm the passenger that paid for my seat at this spot because I have needs, then you're asking me to change because you just think that you should have priority because you have a child.
See, I was thinking the other way around. You know, like if you are flying with someone with special needs and we couldn't get seats next to each other and you're going to ask me to switch seats, I would say, can you ask the flight attendant because I paid for the seat? And if they come to me and ask me to move seats, but also offer me like, I don't know, Southwest snacks or pretzels and like a Bloody Mary, then I'd be like, all right, yeah, that's cool. Ugh. Like compensate me in some way then.
Man, because you brought up free drinks, I gotta tell you a story.
Oh no.
Okay, so we were flying home on Southwest. And
was I with you?
Yeah, it was our most recent flight back.
Okay.
So I was with my mom, and I just want to. At this point, we were done working, like truly done working.
Like we're flying home from Florida.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh, let's just like make this experience as fun as possible for her. So we go to the bar at the airport. We have a couple drinks. We're talking, watching GSN, Game Show Network.
Oh, I grew up on GSN.
I know. I was like, this is the best day ever.
like the old school, like press your luck.
Oh, it was mostly Chain Reaction, which is my favorite.
I love Chain Reaction.
I know. I was so excited. So we're doing that. We're having a couple drinks, and then I tell her, I go, well, I'm probably gonna have a couple drinks on the plane. Are you hungry? Do you want to get some snacks or do you want to get something more hearty? And we weren't hungry yet, so we stopped at one of those just like, I don't know, little Hudson News sort of snack things. And we got like little mini charcuteries and we got a little mini like pickles to split. And then we get on the plane and we each order our wines respectively. And then they hand us the little crackers and we had a full-blown charcuterie setup on the plane. And our flight attendant also thought that it was pretty cool because she comes around and she's like, do you guys want another one? And I'm like, no, actually, no, I'm good. And she's like, come on. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And she actually bought that second round for us.
That's pretty cool.
The flight attendant. So we only paid for one drink each.
Yeah.
So I will say that's happened to me a lot on Southwest where they've just comped my drinks. And, I would say like maybe a third of the time I end up paying for my alcohol and the rest of the time they just sort of give it to me. So keep that going, Southwest. If you take that away from me too, we're going to have some serious issues.
Well, I think that just shows a little bit of kindness goes a long way. But I just can't help but think about the episode we did a while back about travel gifts. And one of the things I mentioned and made fun of was the craft cocktail to go kit where you can like basically break this thing out in a flight and start making your own craft cocktail. I'm like, what a-hole is making an old fashioned at 20,000 feet in the air?
Just an airport ready charcuterie.
Yeah. I think that's just a Lunchable.
It was, but it was fancy. But it was honestly like 10 out of 10 recommend. It was fun. It was the perfect little snack. So yeah, take your charcuteries to the skies, ladies.
Yeah, good for you. What else here?
Oh, well, speaking of alcohol, I'm going to keep going down this
yes.
this train, I suppose. So something else I saw from travelpulse.com is the new sort of push. So this is not official yet. It's just rumblings in the industry to start limiting drinks at airport bars due to unruly passengers. And the sort of pushing force behind this is Ryanair. So they're focusing more on Europe at the time. This isn't necessarily more of a US
I've flown Ryanair
change.
a few times.
Yeah. Which again, I think, people can't be trusted with nice things. And of course, they're going to ruin it.
They got to ruin it for everybody else. Have I been one of those people? Absolutely. But, lesson learned.
I mean, I've never been like not allowed on a plane or anything or had anybody, be like, ma'am, miss,
I will say,
reel it in.
There was one time where I was like, I can't believe they let me on the plane. Not going to lie. I was flying from South Korea to Australia with a layover in Malaysia, the Kuala Lumpur airport, which it is the pits. Like, there's a bird flying around inside. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll grab a few drinks before I hop on this flight, because I got 6 hours. I can catch a buzz, eat a bowl of noodles, wake up, and that did not happen because the tall beers there were like $1.25 USD. So yeah. So I ended up getting sloshed right at this Malaysia
and
airport.
You by yourself?
I was by myself.
Classic Annie.
And the bathrooms there were not toilets. It was like a hole in the ground, and you had to hang on to the railings. After a few drinks, that's really hard to do. So I did not fall into
the open pit.
I did not fall into the pit of despair at the Malaysia airport. And I get on the flight, and I'm there at this point. I can't hide the fact that I'm inebriated. I couldn't, even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. So this is how much they don't care in these flights. During takeoff, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be sick. So I undo my belt and I run to the bathroom. I don't know if you ever thrown up in a bathroom in a plane as it's taking off. There's all sorts of bending of laws of physics there happening. But yeah, it was a wild experience.
Annie. What?
Yeah. And then this poor person who had to sit next to me, I reek like cigarettes and booze.
Oh, and now vomit.
Yeah, now vomit. And I wake up and I am in Australia.
Oh my God. Well, I'm so glad you made it.
Yeah, well, it was questionable there for a second. So yes, limit the alcohol intake, sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm pretty
as someone who has come close to ruining that for everybody else.
I'm pretty neutral on that because I tend to always try to put myself in the employee situation. And like right now,
after your fourth one, you don't care though.
Well, and I think it's on the individual employees at whatever bar to have to be like, you're cut off. And like, that's awkward. And like, you might not even know. And like, I just think that taking that responsibility off the employees is the one argument that I would have for like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like people, if you need babysitting, babysit them.
Yeah. Like I have friends who bartend in airport bars, and it's a little different because when you're at like a regular bar, you have regulars who you see on a weekly, sometimes daily basis. Whereas an airport bar, you see maybe the same face once every few months. You don't really have regulars, So it's like if they're mean to you, they don't really care. It's not like, what are you gonna do? I'm never coming back. Like, okay. I mean, you're gonna have to fly out of here at some point. So, and I'm the closest to your gate because you're flying Southwest and you can't check your bags for free now. So,
oh man.
But yeah, just to run down this bullet list of some new airline features coming out, I saw that American Airlines is rolling out flagship suites for business class. Again, I'll never know.
The airport?
Yeah, like on the plane.
Oh.
Yeah, but in the airport, JetBlue they're opening branded lounges at JFK and I believe Boston Logan, which I have a Chase Sapphire card. I never take advantage of the Chase lounges. I really should.
I just looked at because I have Capital One and they do the same thing. And I was actually just checking to see if I could like take advantage of that. And it's just limited what hubs.
I want to see what's behind those frosted sliding doors, man.
Yeah.
That's what I want. And then Air Canada, I saw starting to charge for carry-ons, and I've flown Air Canada. It's pretty nice.
For carry-on?
For carry-ons, yeah. Air Canada. What? Yeah, I know. I know.
It's just like, oh, man, can't we have anything? Not that I've even ever flown Air Canada, but
But again, I mean, with all these changes coming, it's probably hard to keep up with it, and also just everything you see on the news these days. So if you're ever unsure, like, we always recommend using a travel agent. So
always,
Mhm.
always. And, share with us too. If there's stuff that we shared that you have feelings about, we want to hear it. If there's changes or even rumblings and rumors that that you want to share with us, we'd love to hear it. So there's a ton of ways that you can get in touch with us. You can drop a comment. You can, in the podcast description, if you're listening on your favorite podcast platforms, you can text Annie and I directly. That goes right to us. Nobody's done it, so just say hi. But they can also do what, Annie, to share some of their stories with us?
You can email us at travelstoriesunpacked@gmail.com.
Yeah, share your travel stories with us, especially if you want to be a little bit more anonymous. If you just put that request in your email, we'll, of course, respect your privacy there. So, Annie, I know we have a ton of things that we want to talk about, but can we tease what I want to talk about next?
Absolutely.
So all these flights we were talking about were to and from our Crystal Conference. And at the Crystal Conference, we got to go to Universal Parks in Orlando, and I really want to talk about it. So do you think we can unpack that next?
I think so.
All right, so buckle up. Let us know what you want us to talk about, and we'll see you guys on our next Friday. But then don't forget, if there isn't a Travel Stories Unpacked on Fridays, that probably means that there was a KHM Today on Wednesdays. So don't forget to tune into our YouTube channel to watch that live at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This podcast is brought to you by KHM Travel Group, a leading host agency for independent travel agents. Head to khmtravel.com to learn more.